PTF and Mikey P back with you on the In the Money Media YouTube channel. I had said in another video earlier on the show, it was going to be JK here, but Mikey will be sitting in. We'll get JK back on these airwaves at the weekend. JK's been doing great on there. Mikey P's been doing great on here and on the podcast side. So hopefully we can keep the winners coming in this next segment or video where we talk about the Risen Star Stakes. This has been a historically very relevant prep. Some very big names, horses with big runs, even Derby winners and other Triple Crown winners in recent years. We'll see if this running could be another one where that is the case. We got to start off by looking back at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and East Avenue. This horse, to me, lost all chance at the break in the Juvenile. I've been eager to see him run again. Seems like he did maybe have some interrupted preparation, so I'm not quite sure what we're going to get out of him first run back going this mile and an eighth. But I do feel confident that of all the races run by everyone in this field, he has the best bit of form so far in that Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Futurity win. What are we going to see, Mikey P, from East Avenue on Saturday?
Well, if you're looking to bet East Avenue, you're hoping that he gets out of the gate, because he didn't get out of the gate in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and it cost him the race. Really had no chance whatsoever. That was inside and really just nowhere to go, and that was unfamiliar going for him. He's used to being on the front and dictating races. That wasn't his scene, so he needs to break well. Probably wants to be up front again. Now, for myself, I would take a negative approach to him in here. Expectations are high. He needs to prove that he's making that move from 2 to 3. He needs to prove that he can overcome a trip that maybe isn't perfect for him. So a negative approach for me to East Avenue, but I'm very curious to see how he returns.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the stories of the race. There's a bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't element with East Avenue for me in this spot, given the known unknown of how he's going to be doing off the layoff. And what I mean by that is, for the reasons you just laid out, he's tough to take if he's bet hard, even with that positive market signal. And if he's not bet hard, that's almost screaming that he's going to need the race. So he's not where I'm going to land. He'd certainly be a horse I would consider using in USA style exotics in a more defensive way. While we're talking Breeders' Cup Juvenile, we've got to talk about Jonathan's Way. This was a horse that went in to the Breeders' Cup with loads of hype on him and also disappointed. He had all manner of difficulty in there. He did come back and race subsequently, came back, whatever it was, 3 weeks later, month later in the Kentucky Jockey Club. Didn't oblige as the 4-5 favorite, but I thought he ran pretty well in there, all things considered. It was a slow pace. He was off that slow pace. He showed a good attitude. He finished up well. Our colleague Nick Tamaro has brought up his belief that this horse may be distance limited, and looking at the pedigree, I could see it. You know, we haven't, these Vacomas are young. Vacoma is only a second crop sire now, so we haven't seen them go long particularly well. Dam side was all sprint, but I don't know. The way he's finished up in a couple of these runs, I'm not willing to give up on the idea that he can get the mile and an eighth. I think maybe East Avenue helps make the market for him. I'm interested a little bit in Jonathan's Way in this spot. We'll give our actual selections at the end of the video, but I'm definitely taking a positive view. How about you?
A negative view again. I do think, I don't know if it's the distance with him. That first time 2 turns in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he didn't race that well. I mean, he was in a good spot, really, and just when it was time to make that move around that second turn, he didn't fire. Now, he got back to Churchill, which he has proven that he really likes. The race in the Iroquois was fantastic. That Kentucky Jockey Club, I thought he was against the flow in that race. He definitely raced very well in there. He's proven he loves Churchill. Now, you got to show up here at Fairgrounds. You get a mile and eighth test. Lots going against him. And again, he's on the shorter end of the price scale. So these are 2 horses that, yes, they can beat me. They could really prove that they are better than these and they have more class than these. But again, you're going to have to take a short price. So it's time to go long shot shopping, I think, in the Risen Star.
Well, I want to talk about a few others who are going to be in the betting, but I like that you're tipping your hand that you've got something up your sleeve for us at a price. Next up, let's talk about the horse that ran second in the Lecomte, representing that form line, Built. That was a huge run, I thought, given the pace dynamics. Probably moved a little bit too early. This horse has shown some real flexibility in running style. I wonder how Saez is going to fit him. I would actually prefer more of a known hold-up rider, given the speed that we see in here. Saez so aggressive, maybe another one that ends up getting to be part of the pace in this spot. But Built, certainly a horse that's going to catch some money, and I'm not going to be ruling out, but ultimately I probably will land another way, unless the price is unexpectedly large. I mean, this is a contender to me in the range of about 5 or 6 to 1. I wonder, though, if he isn't going to be shorter than that. What's your take on Built as a horse, and what price do you think he'll be?
I like him as a horse. I did like that Fairgrounds line, the gun runner. That was a fantastic race. He was able to get the front and dominate there. And then I thought he raced really well into the comp. Had a wide post, a really massive sloppy track that day. Was able to secure a decent trip from that wide draw. Ended up closer on the rail and then did make a run. Just got past by Disco Time, who we both liked in that race. So even though that figure came up low, I do think that was a nice step in the right direction, especially going him out as 16th again. So this horse is a distance horse. I think he has talent. He has the right connections. As far as price goes, it all depends on how they come for East Avenue here. That will determine his price.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, one of our two sponsors on this video, our friends over at twinspires.com. The Kentucky Derby Betting Challenge is back. You can pay to play then, but you can also win your way in. Go to twinspires.com/tournaments. Actually, I'm not sure if /tournaments will work. Go to twinspires.com, click on the tournaments tab, and you will surely get a chance to see all the fun action happening, not just on the weekends, but every day, with a particularly fun contest happening for this Risen Star Saturday. Twinspires.com, the place to learn more. We will get to those selections. But a couple more things I want to do before that, including talking about another contender, the unexposed Vassimo, the 3-runner in here. Another one I'm very interested to see how they bet. Maybe it looks a little bit too slow on figures, but anytime you see Todd Pletcher and Irad Ortiz Jr. on the Triple Crown Trail, it pays to take notice. And this horse has proven he could pass horses. Might just sit the right kind of trip under Irad in here. Do you think that Vassimo is a contender or pretender in the Risen Star?
I do think he's a contender given the connections. If you watch his replays, he's got a nice long stride to him. He has definitely sharp breeding. B Sharp Sonata is the dam here. Really nice, graded stakes winning animal in the right hands. Now got Lasix last time for that allowance win there at Tampa. Now steps up. This is going to be, I think, a determination whether this horse stays on the trail or maybe is limited to like a 1X type or lower level Derby type races. So no Lasix, inside draw. It's going to have to improve to beat these, but certainly a contender in the race.
Fair enough. One more sponsor I mentioned. We'll get to them right now. Our friends over at Cut. You're going to want to download the Cut app. You can learn more at cut.com. about how you can put your money where your mouth is. New way of betting, social betting platform, lower takeout, peer-to-peer. You match your bets with other players, but it's very easy to get matched. And one of my favorite things about Cut is that you can get matched on anything with a verifiable outcome. So this is where I was betting my Super Bowl props, and you find plenty of action over at Cut with March Madness coming up. And then for things like the Oscars, politics, pop culture, great way to get involved. Go to Cut app and download it and learn much more about this great new player-friendly way to bet. All right, time for the rubber to meet the road. We're going to make you go first. Who are your selections? You mentioned long shots, plural. So tell us about who it is you plan on keying around in this year's race.
Yeah, I would say that if you don't like the favorites here, it stands to reason you could use a couple long shots in the race. I'm going to try number 1, American Promise, as the first one. Now it's a Dwayne Lukas here, raced in the Southwest. Watch that trip. This horse did not break very well and is a speed type horse. Had to engage early, Speed King, who ended up winning the race. Well, this horse, if you look at the pace figures, they got quicker as the race went longer. Now, did get tired, did interfere with the horse late. I'm not worried about that. I do think that this horse has shown improvement in the last 2 starts. I like the fact that they ship here. That was an apprentice jockey that was riding this horse the past 2 times. So now you get, Keith Asmussen here. I do think that this horse is very well meant in this race, can get a trip, no matter the poster, has won from the rail before, has the figures to compete with these horses, and you're going to get a price here. So American Promise would be one horse that I would use. And then another horse is a Chunk of Gold. Now, this horse ships up from Turfway, had a maiden win first time out, and then ran in a listed stakes back on January the 18th and had trouble in there. Really tough start early, had to rally from way off the pace, and I thought was moving quite well late. This horse was just getting on track right there at the mile. I think the extra distance will suit, and the price will be very much to your liking if you like him. He's a closer. Plenty of speed in the race, so he would be another one I would use. So give me American Promise, give me Chunk of Gold in the Risen Star.
Do you get worried at all about Chunk of Gold from a class point of view, given this horse that costs $2,500?
Well, but if you look at this horse as breeding, the full sister here was a legitimate horse. That was Band of Gold. I mean, that horse, was racing in listed stakes and graded stakes. So plenty of dirt form, plenty of class, as far as the family goes. So no, I that does not scare me. I do think that this horse is definitely under the radar. The fact that they're shipping in here, I do think is important. I mean, they have confidence. They could have waited for the Turfway race. They want to test this horse on the dirt. And I do think that the trip should suit. So I'm interested in a horse that ships in.
I hear you. And I mean, on blood, very easy to make the case this horse is supposed to improve on dirt. I mentioned as a each way long shot in the video I did for our friends over at theraces.com. You can also access that if you subscribe to our free newsletter. That'll be put in there at the end of the week. And that's a great way to keep track of all of our content in themoneypodcast.com/email for that one. Another long shot I'm going to mention, this is a horse to run third or fourth at a huge price, which is kind of what I think the Chunk of Gold ceiling might be too. But number 12, Vamos Carlitos, I thought, looks too slow based on the body of work, but I just thought that last race showed some glimmer of improvement. Admiral Dennis, that's a well-regarded horse, was long odds on there. This horse I just thought ran pretty well for second, could be live just to get a minor piece. As for the on-top pick, for me, I'm going for number 2, Jonathan's Way. We'll see how he gets on. We'll see what kind of a price he is in this spot. I do think he's one of the ones, and I do think East Avenue will help make the market for him. We're going to learn so much in this Risen Star. You've heard what we think. Now we want to hear what you think. Leave us a comment. Who's the Risen Star winner? What did we get right? What did we get wrong? What else do you want to see on the In the Money Media YouTube channel? Do us a favor and subscribe while you're here. We know from our stats, 75% of the people here don't subscribe. Why not? What are you waiting for? Helps us out, and make sure you don't miss any of our YouTube exclusive content. Click that notification bell so you don't miss any of that, and help us out with a subscription. Good stuff, Mikey. Appreciate having you on here. Going to be a fun card. We got a lot more over on the podcast side. InTheMoneyPodcast.com or In the Money Players Podcast, wherever you get your audio.